What's the most messed up or inappropriate thing that someone's casually said to you? My mom died of cancer when I was 2. When I was roughly 6, my older siblings told me that me mom and I were playing in the front yard and kicked a ball into the road, and when she went to get it she got hit by a garbage truck, and that's how she died. I did find out the truth till a few years later. Odd that I have zero relationship with me family now. Just as fucking Kristen here, I thought me siblings telling me I had a letter from the Spice Girls in the mailbox when they wanted me to go away was mean. This is really mean. Whoa, on a scale from 0 to worst in the thread, this one hits hard. That's some very stupid and mean shit to do. It sounds like they are very dumb. My 2 older sisters told me I was found on the side of the road in a suitcase in Chinatown. Later on, me 5th grade teacher yelled at me in front of the class for lying, and I think I cried. Your brother is only nice to you because he's not threatened by you or your partner. If you were successful and she were pretty, he would be nice to either of you. Mom. Whoa, that one insulted everyone. A clean sweep. Yikes. I had a miscarriage where the baby was absorbed and all that was left in the uterus was the gestational sac. I got pregnant again, and when I told my neighbor, she said, "So, are you actually pregnant this time?" Yes, Ashol. I am pregnant this time, and I was actually pregnant last time. Unfortunately, I just said yes and went in the house. I stretched in class, sitting in the front seat, and me teacher clapped and said, "And that's why I put you types of girls up front." I was in 6th grade. He was fired the next year for watching porn in class, along with countless complaints from other girls along with their parents. Rob, I hope you are living a lonely life. Fucking perv. Edit. I'm from Indiana, so it's prob not your teacher, but it makes me so sad this has happened so much. Reminds me of a teacher I had whose niece was in our class. One day he asked her how her birthday was over the weekend. She replied, "Good. I had German chocolate cake. It's me favorite." To which he replied, "Did you smear it all over your body?" And I cannot emphasize enough the creepy eye contact and tone in which he said it. You could hear up and drop, and after about 5 seconds of deafening silence, all of a sudden I hear some kid in the back of the class Yomer Hollenhorst, "What the fuck?" We had a social studies teacher that intentionally made his classroom uncomfortably warm, would help any guy that asked for help from his desk or from the front of the room, but most of the girls he would lean over their chair back to help. And once when a friend of mine who was an early bloomer took her sweater off in class, he said, "That's the reason I like it hot in here," or memories like that are why it's kept hot in here, or something like that. 20 years ago he said it quietly, but some over the all of you higher, 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 heavy, sad, higher, higher, as a fact, so the huge, the said, higher, higher, where, higher, 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 the wheel, west, so you, what, we, where, well, way, yeah, you, well, well, we all have you, well, review, I will be who wow, who wow, He was let go the year after I graduated. He had become the girls' volleyball team coach, and after there were enough complaints from parents of team members about him being creepy, the tipping point seemed to be him insisting he be able to give pep talks in the locker room before games. When I was 20, I worked at a major bank. Had a regular customer, a guy in his mid-50s, come in and comment on my hair as I had just a different color. Guy: "Oh, you changed your hair. It looks very nice on you." Me: "I did, thank you." Completely straight-faced guy: "So, does the carpet match the curtains?" I did say anything. The male teller next to me looked like he wanted to run. It was horrifying, and the customer just laughed at how mortified we were, even trying to get the other teller to be like, "Yeah, he knows what I mean." The poor guy was speechless. The same customer shortly before this came in, and another teller commented that he had shaved his beard off, which he had had for a while. The customer looked me right in the eye and said, "Yeah, I had to get rid of it because it scratches the inside of me girlfriend's thighs." I started going into the back when he would come in, and was so happy when I moved to another location. My mom once told me that the renovation or expansion of the volunteer fire department down the road from her would lower the property value of her house because volunteer firefighters are pedophiles. No, I don't have any idea where that came from. That is the most random, nut oddly specific piece of discrimination I've ever heard. What the hell? Might wanna ask your mom if she's open to therapy, because that definitely came from somewhere. If no one was in this class with us, I'd rape you right now. Raise his hand. "Excuse me, teacher. This person just said he wanted to rape me." Jesus Jolie fucking Christ. What has to go wrong in some youn's brain to even think of saying something like that? Oh me God, that's horrible. This reminds me of how when I was 9 or 10, my class was sat in a circle. Can't remember what the activity was. And this boy was mouthing how he was going to rape me friends and I after school. He was using his hands to enact and demonstrate too. I have no idea how me teacher did notice because he wasn't being subtle about it. It hurt a lot when my mom would get drunk and cry to me that she wishes I had passed away instead of my father. It hurt a lot more when she said it offhandedly and sober though. I'm okay now, but fuck, man, I was 7. I did deserve that shit. You did deserve it. I'm sorry you had to live through this. Parents are supported to protect you, but they can also hurt you the most. Wish you all the best. No, you did deserve that. No, you did deserve. Though you deserve. That's fucking awful. Unfortunately, some people are utter cunts, and some of those people are mothers. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's time for me to get off Reddit. This just broke my heart. I'm so sorry. At no age is that acceptable, but for a 7-year-old. People don't take me seriously because I'm pretty. You're so lucky not to have that problem. Another example of think before you speak. The fact you said that aloud tells me your looks aren't the issue. Oh shit, I'm gonna start using that. I'm a troll of a man in his 30s. My nan's sister, at our first meeting, said to 14-year-old me, "You look like a fat leek butt in Dutch." I was flabbergasted. Fun fact. When she died a couple of years ago, during the funeral, her daughter gave a speech and told a lot of secrets about how her mum was a total bitch and narcissist, abused her and made her life a living hell. The whole church was in shock, and they sort of canceled the funeral due to all the consternation. What a legend! It's becoming more common for people to refuse to pretend that family members were good people just because they were dead. Personally, I don't believe in showing respect for the dead. Respect is earned. People have their entire lives to do that. If they choose not to, anything goes. Emo. That's amazing. That's I kinda wish me brother and I had done this at our mother's funeral. My ex. Wife, everyone hates you. They can't stand being around you. Never could figure out why she said that. 30 years later, I'm still friends with the people that supposedly hated me. Never could figure out why she said that. Probably out of spite. Never could figure out why she said that. Sounds like she was hoping you'd stop seeing them. It seems like it was some kind of attempt to isolate you from your friends and family. You got raped by a senior. Really? Did you like it? Hard to beat that one. I was 14. The whole school knew because a guidance counselor told a group of me friends so they could support me. That was asked by a random student in a busy hallway. Every guidance counselor from college I've ever met are socially guilty. That kind of breach of confidentiality should result in them losing their license. I'm going to see how much I can break that man down. How many times I can make him cry. An old work colleague you said to me about another member of staff suffering from depression and stress and who was likely to have suicidal thoughts. I left not long after. Fuck that sick fuck. There are some people who do this to their relationships as well. They're fucking awful people. What sucks is that people who aren't taught empathy as children never bother to teach it to their own kids either. Sick fucks like that just keep on making new, worse versions of themselves. Reminds me of the excellent movie In the Company of Men. I can't wait for you to be blind. Your art gets better and better. I am severely visually impaired, losing me vision to a degenerative disease. I am an artist. I paint and create work with themes sometimes relevant to me vision loss. Someone I knew said this to him in front of a group of people at dinner 2 years ago. I was 32 at the time. Edit this was not said as a joke. They were 100 serious and proceeded to defend the point. Goalie Vincent, can't wait for your crippling depression to really push your work to great new heights. Anyways, just remember that she'll never love you and, oh, your brother told me he is getting tired of subsidizing your worthless life. See you tomorrow. Retinitis pigmentosa. My wife and her brother are both losing their vision due to it. It's caused by Gusher's syndrome, which also affects hearing. Sorry, just curious. Middle of a grocery store. I'm 18 or 19. A man 50 plus years old walks up to me, puts his arm around my shoulders, stares down at me braced and says, "Damn girl, can you see your feet?" In the middle of a store. Oof, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. I had a dentist say that I needed to work on that for when I had a boyfriend when I was gagging during whatever the hell he was doing. I think I was 11. I did not understand it at all until I was much older and saw like the second episode of Glee where a gag reflex comment is made. I asked my mom about it and she explained and I was like, oh, why dentist said this. She was not thrilled that it waited so long to tell her. The weirdest thing me dentist ever told me that he wished I would draw eyes under me chin so it would look like he was working on a shark upside down. Sorry your dentist was such a Dutch. Exact same thing happened to me when I was around 7 or 8. Dentist had a tongue depressor in my mouth, and I was trying to keep from gagging in his face. He told me with a weird smile, "Ooh, suppressing the gag reflex already." At 10, my next-door neighbor told me how much his wrists hurt when he thought of me. I did not understand. Mine is a dentist one, too. But I was older at least. Maybe 20-ish. We were discussing a possible tooth extraction and the replacement implant, and he said my boyfriend would love it if I just left the teeth removed. It didn't even register until he apologized. So shocking. When I was around 13 or 14, I was at a doctor appointment with my dad and they did the tongue depressor thing. I did gag and the nurse was like a whoa, no gag reflex. That will come in handy later. I seriously almost died of embarrassment. Seriously, Albius answered, several resistance. I honestly don't even remember if my dad said or did anything. I just remember the sheer horrible desire to crawl under a rock and die. That's really disgusting that he said to a little girl. What a pervert. I'm Asian. I'm Asian. Is your pussy slanted like your eyes? Update for context. Since a lot of you asked what that even means, they have this belief that our vaginas are slanted upwards, or, as if when guys enter us, it'll pivot their penis upward and not straight, thus giving them more pleasure. Like, seriously. Throughout dating, I have asked my partners if they felt that was true, and nope, not at all. Even they were questioning or angry at who would even ask me that. I was dating an Asian girl and had an elderly and a bit senile family member ask me the same thing. His hearing was also failing, so although he meant to ask quietly, he actually said it very loudly and his wife overheard him. I didn't have to say anything. She took care of it. It'd be tempted to reply with something like, "Ig, is your dick as weird and off?" Putting as your pickup lines. I work retail. We got delivered a lot more rice than normal. A manager slapped the pallet of rice, looked at one of me Filipino coworkers and said, "No worries, Markwell can help us get through this." There was about 5 of us in the stockroom, and we all turned into Scooby-Doo. Rue, as we cold stared him. He didn't say anything, just walked out sheepishly and didn't mention it afterwards. Japanese woman here. I got it all through school. It's really uncomfortable to have to defend the mundanity of your vagina at 12 years old. Also of Asian heritage. I was tempted to post strangers pretending to speak an Asian language by imitating Chinese when I just walked by them. God, if I was a woman it would be so much worse. Sorry sis, those guys can fuck off. I had a serious accident a month before me now ex-best friend whispered to me, "I wish you died that day." I was stunned and internally questioning if I heard her right, but there was no mistaking what she said. It was very clear. In the months leading up to me accident, she had been in a weird headspace. I know she resented me even though she denied it because I did walk out with her when she quit her job at the company we both worked at. I haven't talked to her since she said that to me. I feel your pain. Your pale, you pale, your pale. During me cancer battle, I ended up with a very serious infection and was admitted to the hospital because me internal organs were shutting down. I begged my ex-husband to bring me son to see me since he would be missing me custody time as I was in the hospital. Ex brought me son. Nurse kindly gave me little 5-year-old boy a popsicle, and I sang him to sleep in me room, on me bed. I was very happy. I turned and sincerely thanked my ex for bringing my son to see me, and he coldly looked at me and said, "I wish you would just do. It would make me life so much easier. Stop fighting and just fucking D." He then took our son and left the hospital, and I sobbed for hours. The asshole then sued for more custody because I had cancer and got it. But it all worked out in the end as he left the country, And I ended up with full custody of me son, and he didn't even get visitation for more than 4 years. That's some cold ass shit. I can't really imagine a sane, compassionate person saying that anyone who is evil, and I'm assuming you aren't evil. That's the type of shit that would make me think she caused the accident in the first place. God damn. I had a similar ish comment when I was a kid needing major surgery. A kid in me class said if I died, no one would come to me funeral. I was their friend and can't remember much else about it. When laying sick in a hospital bed, needing a bed wash from a nurse, she lifted my hospital gown up goes, those are the smallest tits I've ever seen. I was 17. What a cunt. I'm always amazed that anyone in the medical profession is ever even surprised by normal anatomical variation, especially boobs. They're literally all different and small chests are so common. Source: Am IPT lifetime member. Several years after high school, a car full of old classmates pulled up next to me, shouted, "Hey name," still fucking ugly hoe. Then spit off again. I don't know why they remembered my name. I never talked to them. Needless to say, that wasn't great for the old self-esteem. Sounds like some teen movie alone. Sorry that happened to you. I was like 14, and during me teen years would go from pudgy to skinny and back as I grew vertically very quickly. School uniform was pretty strict and you had to keep your shirt tucked in, which given the style and size can accentuate any extra weight. It just had a growth spurt, so was skinny, but definitely not fat, barely overweight if at all. 200 walking home, a car with two strangers in it stopped at the lights and yelled out the window "Beer Guet," and drove off. I still don't understand what honor compelled them to do that to someone clearly a school kid. My uncle during me closest cousin's funeral, who died from an overdose, told me, "Just tell me you did it. This will haunt you forever." I don't understand. He thought you accidentally killed your cousin. Intentionally. Why would someone think that after an odd? Is he just accusing you of giving him the drugs? Makes no sense. That makes me think he fucking did it. My boyfriend's grandfather said twice that he would rather like to see me in a bikini than normal clothes. For context, we just spent a family afternoon at the pool where I was wearing a bikini. How is Bobby Hill? That's funny. I'd rather see you laying in a coffin than in a lounge chair. You. Like how me uncle, who we had seen in a while, looked me up and down and said, "Yeah, it'd pick her up off the street." Rude. I was packing up files and my boss said I looked good on me knees. When I was 17, I worked in a warehouse and was unpacking a large box of miscellaneous hardware that involved a lot of bending over. My boss, who was in his 50s at the time, told me I should leave it for tomorrow and wear a short skirt to work the next day. This reminds me of the time I had sore knees from twisting them, and one of the managers said, "Who've you been getting on your knees for? Who's the lucky person?" I did not appreciate it. Thankfully, this dude got fired for other reasons, but in me current job, our overall manager repeatedly said things like, "You make such a good homemaker. You look like a woman waiting for laundry. Are you playing house to me?" when I was doing routine equipment maintenance. I'm a scientist, not a housewife. He never said that kind of shit to me male coworkers when they were doing maintenance, only me. Not to me, but to a casual friend of theirs, and I overheard. Two girls in my high school were chatting about guys they dated, and one mentioned she tended to date older guys. I'm thinking 1, 2 years. But nope. She said the oldest guy she ever dated when she was 15 was 30. 4. Her friend just stared at her, mouth agape, and the girl said, "No, it was fine. He thought I was 18. She looked 12 when I overheard her, So we really doubt that. If a friend who dated a 25-year-old woman when they my friend were 13. Looking back, that is a fucked up person. At the time it didn't seem like it though. I went to college at 16, so I guess there was always an assumption that I was older. I ended up dating a guy who said he was 24. Went to a family dinner with him a few weeks in and the age gap came up. I said it was only 8 years and his mom said I don't look 22. And he spluttered and said it was only 6 years. That was when I realized I never actually told him my age. It was a 14-year gap because he was actually 30 and he rightfully ditched me later, but not until after a weekend of sex. Looking back, yeah, that was pretty bad. But I was a sucker for attention and at the time thought it was pretty cool an older guy was into me. I was a pretty stupid, messed up kid. Book smart, but street stupid. My daughters are 11 and 15 and we have definitely had the older guys talk very frankly and more than once. All I had to do is ask, would you date a boy 3 years younger than you, if they seemed so smart and mature for their age? Then. In 27 and 21-year-olds look like they were children. What the fuck? I was 15 at the time. We had new neighbors move in and the dad was super creepy towards them. He always commented on me outfits and even asked me to dinner once. I was thoroughly freaked out by him and one day his wife and daughter just left. He was out of town for a few days and they got a moving truck and skedaddled. It was odd to say the least, but even being that young I had suspicions that he was inappropriate to his daughter. Anyways, when he got back he was completely blindsided and came over asking us if we knew anything. He said to me, in front of my mom, that I should come over to cheer him up sometime too, which I promptly bailed and went inside. Later that afternoon I tried to talk to me mom about how creepy he was and that's why I thought his wife and daughter left, and she said to me, well, you sit outside looking like a slut all the time, what do you think he's going to say to you? I still have many issues with her. That was only one of the many times she called me a slut and it greatly affected me self-esteem for a very long time. Part of me wants to bring it up and get some kind of closure or maybe even an apology, but I know she'll say it never happened or am being dramatic. I have a teenage daughter and I would dream in a million years to ever say anything so damaging to her. And if a creepy guy ever said anything like that to her, I would put his ass in its place quick as hell. I don't know what they call it, but some parents have this weird complex when their kids are better looking or smarter than them. They feel the need to put them down for it. Every single time I corrected my dad or made a joke about him getting something wrong, had dropped a soul-destroying bomb on me for it. It probably bothered your mother that you are more beautiful than she ever was, inside and out. She sexualized it because she was ignorant and could differentiate the difference between beautiful and sexual. Definitely her baggage, not yours. Your compassion, empathy, and experiences will see that stupid trait won't get passed on. I am sorry, but I don't pity you. Just from one post you appear to have so much intelligence and goodness in you. Your mom can fuck right off. I don't understand how anyone can bring a human into this world and do the exact opposite of protecting them. It makes me so incredibly angry. That's insane. I doubt you were sitting around looking like a slut, but even if you were, that doesn't warrant an older man preying on a 15-year-old. That's pretty much saying, yeah, child abuse is okay if the child dresses slutty. I'm glad you learned from your mother's mistakes and you're doing better with your daughter. Sometimes there's nothing we can do but raise the next generation better than how our parents raised us. I want to smell your pussy. I was even talking to the guy and he came up to a group of my friends and said that to me. I had a dude told me he wants to drink me pee while I pee in a shallot bowl. Me and my father-in-law were shopping in a store for groceries, and we saw a massive jar of Hughie sausages, and the label on it literally said Big Daddy. So me and him were cracking jokes, and some old decrepit guy walks past and sparks up a conversation with the in-law, and as he walks away he says, "I bet she takes big ons in her."